Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Welcome everybody. We have our special guest, Tim Palmer, with us from Maxify Marketing, and he's going to be helping us find better ways to generate that interest and those positive reviews and the rankings on our Google profiles, and make sure people can find us easier and feel confident to work with us, and all these different goodies that he does kind of behind the scenes for his clients. But we want to welcome the Giver Marketing Network, the extended family. We want to welcome Kingdom Warriors University, all those who are watching live and also recorded. This is the type of content you can save in your back pocket and watch over and over again, and it will increase your business or organization. We don't want to leave out the nonprofits, because the nonprofits can benefit just as much or more than any of the businesses as well. So whether you're on the for-profit or the nonprofit side, this content today is very, very applicable. All right. So with that being said, Tim, everybody wants to know, what's your story, man? Like, how did you get into this space? Can you give us a short version of kind of your background, how you got to do what you're doing, and how you got so excited about topics like today?
Well, thank you, Timothy. So happy to be here, and welcome everyone. And overall, when it comes to marketing, I've always worked closely with marketing. I've spent my career in sales and with a lot of really big companies. But on the side, I decided to go out on my own. And of all things, it was pizza ovens that brought me to marketing. My brother and I built a website, and we were selling pizza ovens back 5-6 years ago. Eventually got in more to the affiliate marketing space, and obviously ranking at the top's super important when you're writing articles, educating, entertaining people, telling stories, sharing experiences, and teaching them how to do something that you love. So when I decided to leave the corporate space and go out and start my own business, I looked around and went, who do I want to help? And my dad was an entrepreneur, right? He had his own business. He had a tractor business, kind of construction cleanup, landscape grading, all those things. My brother's a cabinet maker, small business. I thought, I want to help small local businesses that all over the country that serve a local service area, those near me businesses, as you might search on Google.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the people I wanted to help. And so I've built a marketing agency that allows me to work with those people that they think they're too small to compete online, right? They don't think they can compete with the big guys. They can't spend as much. I hear that all the time. I can't spend near as much as all the rest of these companies. And I'm here to help them and educate them and teach them. You don't have to be as big as everyone else. Google doesn't care, right? They don't care. There are certain areas where, you have to outspend your competition, but there are plenty of other areas that you don't, right?
So you're out to help the small and medium-sized businesses, whether Absolutely. You have one or 5 or 10 locations. You're all about the local consumer, the local community coming and visiting your your space or place and be able to find you very quickly. Is that what I'm hearing?
That or provide a service out to them, right? The trades. Think about that. You've got to go to the home if you're going to work on their AC or plumbing or roof,
Yeah,
all those
yeah.
things. And it could even be 1 to 10 employees, right?
Yeah, and I know you and I are working on some projects right now where we're helping, you know, thousands and thousands of people be aware more prevalently about a particular company. And so really appreciate your work there. And hey, with that, let's jump in. I'm going to bring up the visuals on this, and thanks for kind of giving a context of where you're coming from. Where does this man come from? How does he know what he knows, and what's his passion? And so I appreciate you sharing that. Tell us more about what we're going to be experiencing today, and then let's just jump right into it.
Today is about the consumer, understanding who we're targeting, right? And how they behave while they're looking for you. Whether if you're a local business, a small business, a medium-sized business, when your customers are looking for you, how are they going to find you? How are they going to look for you? Are you the obvious choice for them? So what we've done is I've gone to this newly released Bright Local. Bright Local helps marketing agencies like me with surveys and different tools to help us better serve our clients. So this is something that is kind of a marketing insider survey that I'm sharing with a broader community. And
Great. So you're kind of the representative that's going to be helping us, whether people contact you one-on-one or they want to just, kind of learn and experience some steps today. You're the person that we would want to talk to. So look up Tim Palmer, ladies and gentlemen, on social media. Look, you're going to have a little goodie at the end, be able to connect with him privately as well. Get some goodies at the end of the presentation, but look him up even while you're watching this on social and just connect with him.
thank you. Thank you, Timothy. So the survey is a local consumer review survey of 2024, trends, behaviors, and platforms explored, right? And I have a link at the bottom if someone wants to go explore the whole survey, but we're going to go through what I felt were the most important parts for most local businesses to go after.
Got it.
All right, so let's get started. All right, so why is this survey important? Figure out that's the key to this whole thing, right? Understanding why people behave the way they do is critical to brand success. So if you're going to win out there, you got to be able to win over your customers. Now, why is that important? Because these online customer reviews, and I bet most people would be surprised at this. You see this 50% here, right? The question was, I trust consumer reviews as much as personal recommendations from friends and family. So they trust strangers' reviews online as much as they do personal requests from friends and family. This means people will go out there and they will ask, and then there's other ways that they do this. But what people will do, and I see this all the time. I had a good friend do this last week. He's like, hey, I need to build a pergola out in my backyard this week. Does anyone have any recommendations? Well, and this is on Facebook. And so people, 5, 6, 7 people go out there and they make the recommendations. Well, even then, he's not just going to go, oh, I trust this person the most, or I like this person most, so I'm going to pick theirs. He's going to go there and take it and search Google for each of those. Well, how is your online reputation standing up against the other 5, 6 recommendations? And there are other ways where they won't even ask people, they'll just search. How is your online reputation helping you? And the key takeaway here, Timothy, is your customer review strategy could positively or negatively affect other marketing strategies. So
Well
whether
said.
it's
Good example. Well said, man. Thank you.
Thank you. And that could be newspaper advertising. It could be Google ads. It could be Facebook ads. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Networking in person, person to person, or networking groups, people will still Google you. You even at the beginning said, hey, look up Tim Palmer, right?
Yeah.
That's the way people will address your business. So your online review strategy is so critical.
Yes. Love that.
So I hope I've set the table well for why the rest of the conversation is important. But I also want to make sure everyone says, well, what is, Tim says, online reputation? What does that mean? What are the most important factors of an online reputation for a local business? Right? So I just brought up a couple screenshots here, right? So when you do a Google search, you tend to get this, and if it's a local search, so for local service, local business, right? I put in here roofer, for example. And what it did was it it gives me the Google Maps snippet in your search, right? It just shows 3 of the top that people look at as Google recommended, right? But it shows the top 3 ranking for an area. And you'll see in here, it gives it how many stars do they have, 4.9, 4.8, 4.8, and how many reviews there are. And we'll talk about that a little more, the importance of those. But another component of your online reputation is when people leave a review, not only do they leave stars, but they give they give their perspective, they give their feedback, right? Their experience, they share their experience. That's a huge part of the online reputation. And when I talk about responses, that is right here, response from owner. What you do here is super important. Notice this is a 4-star rating. It's not a 5-star, but it could be a 2-star, it could be a 1-star. How you respond can turn it into a 5-star experience. No matter what rating they give, the way you respond can tell customers, I want to work with this business, or I don't want to work with this business. And I'll give examples of those also. But Google isn't the only place. You notice I have a Yelp here, and there's a whole bunch of websites. There's thousands of websites out there where you can leave reviews. Yelp, another good example. But Google isn't the only player in town. We'll talk about why it's important to go other places as well. All right, how are consumers searching for and interacting with business reviews? That's what the rest of this presentation is going to be. So now we know why it's important. We know what online reputation is. What are the key components? Now we're going to go into all the survey and all the results here. So first of all, how are consumers reading reviews in 2024? How many, do they just go to 1? Do they go to 2? Do they go to 3? That was the important question here. And while 23% of people only go to 1 site, 36% of people go to 2 sites, 25 go to 3 sites. So what that tells us is 77% of consumers use at least 2 review platforms in their business research. So if you take out the 1 site people, the other 77% use 2 or more sites. And to me, that actually blew me away. I'm kind of a 1 site guy, right? I'm in the 23%. I didn't realize 77% were.
I'm a 2 site guy. I got to admit, I'm a 2 site guy. Yeah,
right?
I'm with you. Yep.
Right. And there are other people going here, oh yeah, I'm a 3 site, or what, I do my homework. And it probably depends on the type of business also, right?
Yep.
How important is it, and how timely is it? I need someone right now. Let me just find the best person. So we'll go into some of that now. So here is a ranking of the top sites used commonly for consumers to find business reviews. Obviously, Google's at the top, right? But Timothy, what do you think? What percentage of people use Google, do you think?
Gosh, it's got to be up there pretty high, because they're kind of synonymous with information and reviews and some of these things now. Probably was higher with Facebook back in the day, but now I think Google's probably taken over.
So, and this is the important thing, because it's researching sites, right? So I'm going out to do research. Obviously, first thing I'm going to do is a Google search. And then a lot of these sites in the Google search will show up. So
it's
Google,
double.
81%.
Wow. Almost double.
Facebook and Yelp, and then everyone else, they're double. Facebook and Yelp are double the next ones. They're TripAdvisor and Better Business Bureau. So Google is almost double, right? And so it is the most important place to make sure that you're getting good customer reviews. And we'll talk about what that means. Now, let's talk about trends. Right? So now here's the same list of companies, but now this is 2022, 2023, 2024. You see Google is more or less maintained, right? They bumped up in 2023 in importance, dropped back down to where they were in 2022. But Facebook, a little bit of decline each year. Yelp, a little bit more decline each year. TripAdvisor, a lot of decline. But BBB, right? Better Business Bureau, significant decline.
Interesting.
So most
I wonder
of these
why that is.
have declined. Right. And then you see a couple of them increasing, like Apple Maps, as they've improved their map platform and people doing things like that. So a few of them have increased, but most of them declined. So where is that going? Google hasn't jumped up so much that you were saying, oh, everyone just switched to Google. There are other platforms out there that people are starting to use. So which other sources are most popular for consumers looking for business information reviews? You look at local news. Actually, this surprised me how much this increased.
So the
But I
local
think
news
part
is
of it
taking their
is
game to another level. Okay, I got
that's
you.
part of it. And you know what's interesting is newspapers, their online newspapers, even newscasts, they're getting so much more into this local business thing and doing since their paper, right? The paper form, the hard copy form isn't going so much. They're using these marketing strategies to help promote local businesses. And that's where they're able to tell the stories, and businesses are going to their local newspapers doing some stuff. Such a
Got
great
it.
strategy, and
Yeah.
could help with SEO, search engine optimization, things like that.
Yep.
So other things, Instagram going up, YouTube was really high, so they've gone down a little bit. But like TikTok, you see that going up. Reddit actually 2024 has been huge, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that this is going to even blow up more. What people say, a year from
Yeah.
now.
Depending on the
Um,
business, that one, and in this research topic, yeah, that could really it's fun to see the trends. Thanks for sharing this. Appreciate it.
you're welcome. You know what's going to grow number one over the next year? I think though,
Hmm.
down at the bottom, Chat GPT, generative AI, right?
Hmm.
We expect that for when people search, right? They could even search. But the question is, where's Chat GPT going to pull their information from,
Ah, good point. Good question.
right?
They all
They
pull from
didn't make
different
it up.
places. Yeah.
You can't sit there and go, oh, I'm going to tell Chat GPT that I'm the best, right? Chat GPT is going to go look at all of these. They're going to look at all the sites before, and
Yeah.
that's where they're going to pull their reviews. So that's why we'll talk about it a little bit more. That's why it's important this is a super important strategy if you want to get Chat GPT to promote you.
Mm.
And you've got to be pervasive. The more places, the better, right? But chances are they're going to go look at the highest one, right? Which was Google.
Come on. Got to start with
Okay.
Google, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hearing you loud and
Start
clear,
with Google.
Tim.
Absolutely. So here's another thing. We talked about where they go and things like that. How often, and we even talked about, right, how many sites they go to, but how often are consumers reading online reviews? So the
Okay.
question: how often do consumers read online reviews when browsing for local businesses? So then we look at this. Always 34% in there, but now you know what? Some of them are like, maybe I don't always. So it lost a percent, right? Regularly, pretty consistently 42%. So what that tells me is 75% of consumers responded that they regularly or always read online reviews when browsing for a local business.
So
Right?
I'm reading that only 2 to 3% say, heck no, never.
Yeah.
I don't do
I
that
don't
stuff.
I don't bother, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty huge
I've
there.
heard statistics as high as 9 out of 10 people will go online before making a buying decision by Flesher. I think it was by Flesher. That's an interesting, and it's probably higher just because we're online more nowadays, but these stats are all saying the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. 7, 8, 9 out of 9 out of 10 people, up to 9 out of 10 people are checking you out online. So what's on there? Like, search for yourself. Like, what is happening? What kind of reviews? Like, check your own stuff out every once in a while, right?
And how do you compete against your competition? We'll talk about that a little bit more. So I'm going to go through some of these a little fast because I know we want to get to some meat of how to work on it, how to
Yep.
work on your reputation. So what's the minimum average star rating businesses should have for a consumer to consider using it, right? My gut told me 4.5 stars or more. For the most part, it's 4 stars or more. But this and also the key takeaway here is perfection's not expected or required. And I actually saw another study where people don't, it's surprising to me that people don't trust 5-star reviews as much as you would think they would, right? Because they think, you know what, if this person has 300 reviews and there's all 5 stars, there's probably something fake about it, right? So they like to see a little bit of the negative because you can't please everyone all the time. So a 4.9, a 4.8 are actually really, really solid. So perfection isn't expected. And why I say that is I once had one of my landscaper clients say to me, he's like, Tim, I'm afraid to send people reviews because I have a perfect 5-star rating. And what if someone gave me a 4-star review or a 2-star review or 1-star review? I wouldn't have a perfect rating anymore. Right.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh, interesting. Interesting.
right. So I had to help him understand that that's okay. Right. That's okay. But what's important is The best way to counteract a 1-star review is with lots of 5-star reviews. And then we'll talk about the second best way in just a little bit.
Come on, the little tips, little clues right there.
All right. So what's the minimum number of reviews a business should have? So this is the second part of star ratings, right? So how many reviews? So if they have a 4.8 or a 4.9, right? How many reviews should they have? All right. So this over here on the left-hand side is saying they should have 0 to 19, right? Consumers expecting to have 0 to 19.
You're talking about total reviews across Google, right?
Total reviews. It's saying, I think it's more or less saying any site.
Any site. So across the board, total reviews, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go.
I think this also reduces, like what ends up happening actually reduces depending on what site you are and how many the competition have. So this is all relevant to what the competition has. But in general, if you're sitting here going, you got 0 to 19, there's, 13% nowadays that say, you know what, doesn't really matter. I'll still trust them. At least they have some reviews, right? But then a larger percentage says, I want them to have at least 20.
Come on, there's a
and
number.
Then realistically here, you're looking at the majority of people, about 70% say, you know what, it includes these, but you're going to get like 70% of the people if you're 50 to 100 at least, right? 50 to 99. So you want to make sure you're getting there. Now, so I have clients with they're like, I got 40 reviews, but they're competing against people with 300 reviews. Right. So that's why I keep saying things are relative. So you're trustworthy at this, but are you the obvious choice? The goal is
bottom line is we need to get more reviews along the way, not just one big chunk of reviews in the early days of our business. We need to just keep doing this, right? It's a part of the rhythm of business, correct?
Exactly. And so what happens here is, see, the right-hand side is the other half of that. How consistently should you do this? Because consumers don't want to just see, hey, I had 500 reviews from 3 years ago. Right?
Consistently.
In 2024, 27% of people are expecting that you have reviews within the past 2 weeks. Right? 25% of people are expecting within the past month. Right? 21% within the past 3 months. Right. So my recommendation to people is get up there where you're competitive, where you're an obvious choice, if not the obvious choice when it comes to reviews, but then do at least 2 a month. If you can at least get 2 a month from there, once you've become the obvious choice, right, then it's important to be the obvious choice because of your number, your quantity of reviews and your number of stars. But you need to keep that consistency in so people know you're still relevant. And it's important to them based off of this review.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. How likely are consumers? So is it important to respond to customer reviews? That's the top question. Is it important to respond to customer reviews? I have a lot of people that don't. And how likely are consumers to use a business based on how it responds to online reviews? That was the question. The second follow-up question was, how soon should businesses respond?
Oh,
so would people use you if you don't respond to a review? 47% of people like, sure, right? I'll use them even if they don't. If they're good reviews, whatever. Okay. 54% of people said they'd use them if they responded only to positive reviews. 58% said they use them if they responded to negative reviews, only to negative reviews, right? Or respond to all reviews. Now you're bumping up. That's almost twice of not responding to reviews at all. If you respond to every review, nearly twice as many people say they would consider you over you don't respond to any reviews. That's huge.
It shows legitimacy and that you care. Like, goodness,
it shows that you care.
Yeah.
All right. And then the same day, once you do it the same day, the following day, same day, 11% follow day, 14% within 2-3 business days, 34% within a week. So definitely do it within a week, but you gain more and more people, especially if you're doing it within 2 to 3 days. So
what I'm hearing is don't ignore these.
No, absolutely.
Respond within a week, and you're a rock star. That's what I'm hearing. I speak in rock star language, Tim. So if I want to be a rock star, I respond within 1 week. I respond to all of them. I'm my genuine, authentic self. I explain what happened. Sometimes people leave reviews that they never did business with you. You need to let people know that, like, hey, I'm so sorry. I think we have a mistake here. You might have used a different company with a similar name. Like if that's really the story, share the story, like be real about it. Like just talk to them as if you would talk to a colleague or an associate that you're trying to figure out what's going on. I love that you're talking about kind of the deeper parts of this, Tim.
So let me go a little bit deeper in this. I got 3 quick stories with this because it's so important. This is the only slide that we talk about it. So I once had a man told me a story of him and his wife, and they were going to use a business. The wife was doing research on a business, and she says, "This is the business I want to use." And he's like, "Are you sure? Look at this review. It was a 1-star review. That doesn't look very good." She said, "Yes, but look at the response." So he read the response and he says, okay, let's use them. Right? So the business's response was so good, it turned a 1-star review into a 5-star review.
Come on, preach it, brother.
Another story. When it comes to these reviews, is I've talked to. So I was talking to a dentist office about this, and I was pointing out to them that look at this. Like, if the response was so poor and aggressive, right? That someone said something, whatever, and the dentist was the one that just comes in attacking. I'm like, look, and I'm like, basically, look, if you were going to a business and you had something go wrong, and this is the way the business came and they attacked you, remember, you're not responding to that person as much as you're responding to future customers. If you came and read this review, would you do business with this company saying that if something goes wrong, they're going to attack you?
Interesting.
So you look at those two separate things and you go, look, I need to respond to all reviews, positive and negative. I need to respond to them in a way that will help the future readers decide that I'm the type of business they want to work with.
Interesting.
Right? That's
Good
the
example.
way that you should approach these. Now, at the flip side, I've also had a car mechanic, right, who basically says, you know what? I get customers through my aggressive reviews, but he's a New Yorker and he's like, you know what? This is the way that we are. And he's had people comment, I'm coming to you because those people were out of line and I love what your response was. So he's like, you know what? That's how I do business. And I say, look, if that's how you do business, that's what works for you. Great. That's the important thing, is learn what's going to help you get new customers. What are the responses? How can you respond in a way that'll help you get new customers? Because you may or may not change the way that they're going to think about you. The past customer. It's important is that your reviews help you get new customers.
Come on. Good work, Tim. Thank you. Let's rock this next slide. I'm excited to learn more.
Okay, so this slide, let me go over the left side real quick. So this is a normal Google search, right? I did a Google search for personal injury attorney. That's it, right? At the top, you get the sponsored, right? You get the ads, right?
Yep.
Always going to be at the top, right? Because Google likes money, right? I don't blame them. Below that, for a local search, so it assumed that if you want a personal injury attorney and I'm in Arizona, I don't want one in Texas, right? So it identifies this search as a local business search. So you get local businesses and their ads, right? And then you get, what you typically get after that is I call it a Google Maps snippet. You get recommendation of 3 businesses that are local to your area, and it pulls it from Google Maps.
Yeah.
Now, and then below that, you get websites. So this is typically, sometimes these things go in different orders, but this is very typical, and this is how I grabbed it. Now, ranking. What that matters, I mean, obviously when you're paying for ads, you get to the top and you pay for ads, right? But when ranking, it's important that you're ranking in the top 3 of Google Maps for a given area, for your service area, because those are the 3 people that appear on a regular Google search as the recommended by Google. I mean, you look at these, can you even imagine in my area, within a 5-mile radius, how many personal injury attorneys are near me? Yet these are the 3 that Google put in front of me. Like, so anyone's going to look at these and feel like, these are the ones that Google's recommending to me. Now, and then there's the website rankings. So you want to be in the top 10 of the website rankings, essentially to be on the first page. So that's where ranking is important. And the question here is, what impact can improving your online reputation have on your business? having more reviews and higher star reviews, as well as more reviews with text from clients, and the more you respond to reviews. All four of those are ranking factors.
So those are some clues right there, ladies and gentlemen. Try to increase as much of that as possible.
Mhm.
Some of it's in your control, some of it's not, but you can certainly encourage. So ranking for purposes of this conversation has to do with that visual on the side that we've all
Mhm.
seen when we go and search for something on Google, and it brings up kind of the paid and the what some would call the organic searches that come up as it's a type of recommendation. It's not enough. I guess it wouldn't be enough. It's a type of recommendation based on just the proximity of that business being highlighted. It's just a highlight, right?
Right. And you know what? This is not always your closest people. It's not
Mhm.
always the best, but it's the ones that fit the Google algorithm the best. And again, four of those factors, four of the top ranking factors, are directly related to customer reviews.
All right.
How
So
many? How many do you get? Go ahead.
anybody who wants to go listen to that, they can rewind the video and go check that out. What do we got next? It talks about
So
conversion here.
conversion. So this is now when I'm looking at this screen, when I'm doing a search. Conversion is getting someone to choose you, right? So that's turning a yes, right? You know what? I want to use it into a sale, right? This is your money making. If I'm in the top three, getting in the top three ranking just gets me an at bat, right? Using a baseball analogy, right?
Mm,
I can't hit a home run if I'm not at bat. So
come on.
ranking gets you here where you have an at bat. Conversion is that home run or base hit or whatever, right? It's the money maker,
I
right?
like
So
this.
if you are
Conversion's like making
visible,
contact.
exactly,
I
right?
like
It's like
this
it's like
baseball
getting on
analogy,
base or
Tim.
whatever.
Yes.
So conversion is being chosen by the client to get into the conversation or to be the one choice that they pick. Because I may choose two of these to call. I may just go, you know what? I'm going to pick my one right here, and I'm gonna call them, and that's who I'm going to use because they're my choice from here.
So
And what's
depending on the
important,
type of business, are you talking about like they're either clicking onto a website, they're clicking to call,
yep,
they're clicking to check out more, it all starts with that magical click, but
hmm
then it moves
hmm
into something very significant very quickly. So there's all these micro conversions along the way, but you don't get an at bat, to use your analogy, Tim. You don't get an
right,
at bat unless you're actually being seen initially. So let's
exactly.
go. Okay,
Yeah.
I
So
got
so the main conversions you have here is, hey, directly from their profile, from your Google business profile, which is shows up in Google Maps. Directly from there, they can call you, or they can click on your website. They could get driving directions to your office. And
sure,
certain ones are, the driving to office is only important for certain types of business, but
sure.
can we, by being here and being the obvious choice because of your reviews, can you be the obvious choice for customers so that you increase calls, increase website clicks? Those are the key conversions for driving new business.
And
Now,
we all want that, right, Tim? So let's move on
yeah,
to the next slide and let's rock
la-
and roll, man.
last thing here is we all choose differently. So what does it
Yeah.
mean to be the obvious choice, Timothy, right? So looking at these real quick, Wood Injury Law 4.6, 60 reviews. Hastings 4.6, 119 reviews. Fleming and Rowe 5.0, 46 reviews. So everyone's going to look at this differently,
Mhm.
right? You might say, I'm going to choose Fleming and Rowe because they're 5.0. And I say, well, you know what? Hastings has more than twice as many reviews. They're 4.6, which is good enough. I'm going to choose them. So we all have kind of that freedom of choosing what matters
Mhm.
most to us. But the important thing is do those things to make sure you are at least an obvious choice, if not the obvious choice.
We all know businesses that are making millions of dollars because they're ranking properly like this. Some are making hundreds of thousands, some are making tens of thousands, depending on your business and how early you are in the game and some of these kind of things. But I can tell you one thing, you're going to make a lot more money being on that page right there. That's the
Absolutely.
bottom line. So, hey, let's get you some at bats with Tim Palmer. I like this. What do we have next here, Tim?
Okay, what can you do? So that now is the tip section. What can you
Okay.
do to improve your online reputation? So first of all, it starts by requesting more reviews. So how do you do that, right? So include requests as part of your service fulfillment process. This could mean that invoice or documentation, whatever you do, things like that, like have something on there. Really popular is, if it's paperwork, put a QR code on there with leave a review or how did we do, those kind of things, right? Put it and make it a part of your paperwork. And should it only be Google? Not everyone has a Google login, and you have to have a Google login. Not everyone has a Google email address, I should say, right? So maybe it's not just Google, maybe it's Facebook or somewhere else that's important for you to leave a review. So include review requests as part of your service fulfillment process, your normal day-to-day business. Create automation to send reviews via email and or text. So there's ways to do this in CRMs. There's special programs. Like with a lot of my clients, I set them with a special program that automates all of this stuff and custom. But there's ways to do that to where this is just, you set it and forget it. Create follow-up sequences for those that don't leave a review the first time. Not everyone does it. Hey, I asked you to do it. You're on your way out of the office. Hey, could you leave me a review? Timothy says, sure, I'll do that. And then they don't, right? So following up with them. My system we set up with 3. And it's surprising how many times people do it on the third time. They're like, the first time, like, oh, I'll get to that. The second time, oh, yes, I remember I need it. Third time is like, okay, I forgot twice. I better do it now. If customers have negative feedback, encourage them to send it to you directly for resolution instead of posting online. Sometimes people won't tell it to you directly. But if you have a platform and the way that you send it to people gives them a mechanism to provide that negative feedback to you and positive feedback to the world, that's a huge game changer. Because remember, my landscaper clients, like, I'm afraid to send reviews because I'm afraid to get something negative posted. Well, if you have something in there, and you could be very strategic about this, right? If you have something that says, hey, if you have negative feedback or how can we do better, tell us here. Because maybe they won't say it to your face, but they'll write it. And
Sure.
then, but if it's like, hey, but if you had a great experience, go out there. I use a
You're giving
system.
permission to be honest, but in a
Yes.
very specific way. I love that. Thank you for the tip. These are great tips, ladies and gentlemen. I would screenshot this. I would try to grab this, pause this, take a look at it, write it down, whatever helps you take action on this. Tim gave us a bunch of data and a bunch of reasons to actually do something about this. It means money in your pocket. It means more eyeballs on your event. It means more eyeballs on your organization. It means more eyeballs on your next offering. It means more of the good things. And really, all you have to do is be your authentic self and make sure people have the opportunity to share their feedback.
Absolutely. And I kind of mentioned this one just a second ago, but the other ones include invitations for multiple focus platforms and respond to all of your reviews. So
Come
those are the
on.
things that can really make you stand out as the obvious choice. If you can request all the reviews you need to compete with your largest competitors, right? You could be a small guy. You could be a small business, but still have as many reviews as the big businesses. And so many of the big businesses, so many of the medium-sized business, so many of your competitors in your area ignore this completely, but others don't. So compete with the ones that
Oh, the little guy
try,
has an
others
advantage if
don't.
they work with you, huh, Tim Palmer?
Absolutely.
Come on, you're giving
Absolutely.
the little guy an advantage here. Okay, this is good. All right, so if you're watching this, definitely connect with Tim Palmer. He's going to give you a way to do that in just a minute. But what do we need to know, Tim, as we wrap up here?
So wrapping up, I just wanted to show a few other people, just kind of
Mhm.
some of their things, like what was the impact it had on their business,
Got
right?
it.
Funny thing here is with this person, we chose you because this is a review that was left, right? We
Mhm.
chose you because of those awesome reviews. How cool is that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
One of their largest contracts to date. How many can they get? They sent out a bunch. They got 16 in 24 hours, right? 40 out of this was part of that push to catch them up to their competitors,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
from there, they could just, as business came in, get 1, 2, 5, 10 reviews, right? Target that at least 2 a month from there. And then someone also, remember, the best way to counter, someone had really rough reviews. right? But they were able to get that up into an acceptable point. Remember, 4.0 was where people like, I can start trusting you if you're over 4. So they went from that not trustworthy point to the trustworthy just by flooding it with positive reviews and not
So
waiting
this
for
is the
just
type of thing
angry
you
people.
obviously help people with, right? Is
Exactly.
you help their business, you help their, some people have multiple brands, multiple locations. I'm thinking like attorneys, doctors, dentists, folks who are like, look, this is a huge deal. Like every time
Absolutely.
somebody looks at this, contractors, restaurants with multiple locations, especially, like every one of those locations represents, they're like a family of restaurants. They represent each other. So they might not even know that they're looking at this review over
Mhm.
here, but it's actually affecting the business of this location over here. And they all work together, kind of like a
Right.
family of businesses, right? So gosh, if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who just needs to get your first 20 to 50 reviews, or try to hit that 100 mark with some, kind of a mix of responses, Tim will guide you through that. What else do we have? How do people connect with you, Tim?
So I wanted to give a gift to the small businesses out there, especially these local businesses, the ones that provide services to a local community, right? I want to put together and give you a custom marketing playbook, right? So there's a lot to this, right? 20-point marketing inspection, right? A review of what you're doing well, where you can use improvement at all levels of marketing. All right. Competitive analysis of your online reputation and rankings, right? How do you compete when someone goes out and does searches? How do you compete? Both in ranking and conversion, those two factors we talked about. How are you competing with the other businesses around you? And then come to you with customized online strategies for your business. So that's what I want to do. And all I ask, the best way to do this, we spend 15 minutes doing a discovery call. That's it. Not a real big deal. 15 minutes on it doing a discovery call. You can scan the QR code. There's a Bitly link down there. I also have my contact information at the bottom left. I'm okay with just picking up the phone, talking to people, right? All I need is 15 minutes to get through that first step. Learn what's important to you. What are you trying to accomplish, right? Are you trying to take over the world, or are you going, you know what? I'm struggling to keep my business open, or anywhere in that spectrum. I talk to people of all different kinds. So as far as it goes, right? 15 minutes helps me understand what you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to grow, what's important to you, what your past has been, what are the bad experiences you've had? What are the good experiences you had? What are you doing? So we spend 15 minutes doing all that. I spent a couple hours doing some work, doing some research. A couple days, 2 days later, 3 days later, right? We come back, we review this custom smart marketing playbook together, and you at least know, hey, I know where I sit. I know what I need to work on. You can do it yourself. You can work with my team to do it. Either way, at least you're advancing your business. You know what you need to work on. You know what you need to do, and you're moving your business forward to grow an ever increasing, steady stream of new clients using these smart online expert strategies.
Love it, Tim. And hey, based on this presentation, I want to go even deeper. You've already helped us on a couple of things. We've already had some conversations, but I want to go a little deeper and just always improving, always taking it to another level. We're working with a few clients together, so that's always fun to watch you kind of do your special sauce all over the, put your special sauce all over the meal. And this is one aspect of marketing that you can't overlook. So I'm going to bring in some of our panel today. They're going to ask you some questions, maybe make a comment or two, and then we're going to wrap up. But I just want to thank you again for offering this gift of your time and your insight and your expertise to those who will be watching now, the replay for years to come, and be able to connect with you. So do it now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, this is very, very important. And this is what we call a long-term strategy. It'll affect your business short-term, but it's a long-term strategy. So successful business owners and organizational leaders think long-term, and they take actions that impact both short-term and long-term. And so if you think long-term, talk to Tim. This will help your business. If you plan on being a business for more than the next year, you need to talk to Tim. That's basically the bottom line. Okay. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's add some of our folks to the stage. We're going to remove the presentation. Let's do this. Let's have a party together. I think we have a couple of others. Awesome. Let's do this. All right. So we're all going to put ourselves on mute. I put a couple on mute already just to keep the noise level down. But if we can, unless you have a question, go ahead and put yourself on mute. But once you do have a question for the panel, let's get Tim on the seat here. He's captured audience. We have the expert in the room. What questions do we have for Tim for not only local businesses, but like just businesses in general? And maybe I can start by just asking Tim, do you only work with like one shop, one local business? Do they have to have a certain amount of locations? Do you work with online businesses as well? Like, can you give us an idea of kind of where your expertise really is to prime the conversation here today?
Thank you. Of course. So as far as it goes, I love working with local businesses, right? As opposed to online business. I don't do e-commerce, right? I don't do other, just online only things. I love helping local businesses.
But these tips you gave today can help with all of those businesses. But your specialty is really what you're saying. Okay, I got you.
My specialty is local business. I love working with the small. My sweet spot is kind of that 1 to 10 employees spot. Right. Although I'll go beyond that, but I think it's just part of that. That's who I am. Right. That's where I came from, is that 1 to 10 employee spot. And those are the people I want to help discover that they can be they can't be the king of the mountain. Right. And to get to the king of the mountain, if you've ever played that game as a kid, you got to knock someone else off the top to get to the top. And then you're constantly working and fighting to stay at the top. Those are the people I love. I love the Davids to beat the Goliaths, to get them to the top of that mountain.
Okay. Hey, that's 80% of businesses in America. So you're in good company. So listen, if you're in the United States and you have 1 to 10 employees and you're kind of rocking it in your industry, you're the lifeblood of the country. So like Tim is really helping you get noticed and get found more easily. All right. So who else has a question? I just want to kind of know where Tim's scope was or his boundaries were. Joel, what do you got?
Yeah, so I've had the privilege of working with Tim on some accounts as well, and we communicate quite regularly. But one thing we haven't really talked about in depth is, as you know, I do a lot of digital advertising for my clients, and one of the things that the clients want are short-term results, obviously. So the biggest question I have is if I'm doing digital advertising as a business, not just me, how long would it take for my local listings and my business profile to be optimized so that I could drive people there through smart ads on Google, other Facebook, other advertising channels? We do Bing ads and a few other things. If I really want to drive that really hyper local traffic, my 3-mile radius, my 5-mile radius, how big of an effort is it to get that foundational local listing optimized?
That's a really good question. And part of that initial push for many of my clients ends up being these reviews. It's like, look, I can get you ranking higher, but what will help me is getting more reviews. I've had people come with me with 0, right? They have 0 reviews and they've been in business for 10 years. It's like, how do you do that? You have to really try, right? And or they have 10 or 5 or something like that, or they have a lot. Reviews ends up being one of those things that we have to address immediately. And the other side of it is I have clients that just get some amazing results. I had one just email me yesterday because they got actually have a review with them later today. But yesterday they received an email from Google with some of their key stats. I started working with them on March 1st. They had 3 times more calls in March. Because just me starting with them working on March 1st, they had 3 times more calls coming from their Google business profile in March than they did in February. I say that's a win, right? That's a conversion factor, but they did it because they were getting out there. And she also said that her last 3 clients, last time I talked with her on the phone, she said her last 3 clients came from a city she never had a client from before because we were expanding that circle for them. And this is in her first month at another dentist who'd been in business for 50 years, right? It's a second generational dentist office, but they had totally ignored their Google business profile, their Google map listing, right? They had tons of reviews, but they had ignored everything else. And within their first 60 days, they had 300% more visibility, 300% more visibility from people, like people that saw their Google business profile than they did before. 300% more people see them. And that was specifically for what I call buyer intent keywords, things like dentist or dentist near me, as opposed to the practice name. So they were getting seen by 300% more people, 3 times more people within 60 days.
Great
So
question,
those are the
Joel.
kind of stories I love, and it can happen really quick, especially on the Google Maps side.
Thanks, Tim. Great question there. That kind of got us going, got us moving. What other questions do we have from the panel today? Tim's dropping some examples, case studies, maybe triggering your mind a little bit.
Well, Tim, I was thinking, I work a lot with small businesses also, and sometimes they've never touched their Google profile at all. They haven't claimed it. They might have some reviews on there. Is it too late to get started? I mean, what if it's been sitting there for a while and they've never even claimed it? Is that something you can help with?
I have a client who's a school. They're not even open yet. They're just trying to get enrollments. It's a school for autistic children, right? And they're good people, wanted to help them get started. So they started from 0 and they're still not even open, right? And they're ranking, like, for a huge circle, for their city and then the next city, they've got this huge platform where they're in the top 3 for the majority, for a 144 square mile area. Because I have this tool that'll show you what your visibility is. 144 square miles. And they are the 4th within that. For most of it, they're number 1, 2, or 3. But of any school that shows up in that 144 square miles, they have the 4th best grid, the 4th best presence within that 144. And they're not even open yet, right? I just looked at one today where 2 months ago, I was working with the bathroom remodeling who had nothing, right? I built their website. I did this from scratch, right? And now they have 12 keywords ranking in the top 10 for their area for Google websites, and 15 for Google Maps ranking in the top 3. And I'm just sitting there going, within 60 days, a bathroom remodeling company that's new, going from 0 to those kind of results within 60 days.
We often talk about visibility, just being able to be seen, being able to be found, just being present online in a way that makes sense for people who are searching for you. Like,
yes,
not being the best kept secret in your industry, in your region. Like, how does this happen? Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it happens. You just you do the dirty work, the hard work of really just getting in there and just get her done, and it'll benefit for years and years. I get calls personally from people in towns that we have presence in various different towns, almost like satellite offices. And I get calls because of this early work we did 5 years ago today. And we still get calls. And when we ask for reviews, we say it this way. Tim, I don't know. I've worked with you a little bit, so I'm just kind of putting it out there. But we say it this way. Would you mind giving us some kind words online? And that phrase right there is gold, because you're encouraging people to say kind words online. And if they have any other comments or snide remarks or sarcastic moments, which a lot of people have different ways of expressing themselves, then we do like what Tim says and just have them kind of come through the back door and have the conversation first. And then if they still want to put it online, then we'll respond with emotional and relational intelligence. But bottom line is, it's fun to even create an extension of your website, like givermarketing.com/kind words will actually give you the ability to go say some kind words on Google. And so I love using those extensions and those prompts and those hints and those kind of that language set to just say, look, we're not looking for, like, you're not looking to grade my company. Like, you had a good experience. We served you well. Just give us some kind words. And then if you want to tell us about some of the other things, then maybe include a little bit of it, but like, just talk to me personally. Like, let's just figure it out. So I love that you can kind of prompt people and encourage people to do that. Yeah, be right back. Dustin saying, be right back while I create my own kind of
kind words page. That's brilliant.
Kind words page. And it's just, I don't know, it's a fun way to just say, look, we're all in business to help each other here. Like, let's just make this a little easier for everybody. Anybody else have any questions for Tim?
Since we're talking about Dustin, and so can I bring up how Dustin helps me in this review process?
No, not at all. Please don't mention
no, not at all. Please don't mention you or Magi AI, right? So Dustin's founder of Magi AI, a great tool that I love in using his AI and bringing all the different AIs together and which one helps me in my different situation. Well, anybody who contacts me, if you want it, I'll give it to you. I have some really great prompts for reviews. Prompts for positive reviews and prompts for negative reviews. And then I go into Magi AI, right? And I might use the Chat GPT, or I might use one of the other handful of them that are in there. And I put in my prompt, I put in, what's the customer's name? We want to make sure it has it. And, I have a few things there in the prompt, and I put their review, and I ask them to give me a good response based off of the criteria of the prompt on how to create a good review response. One of the stats that I showed here, or I didn't show from this report, was they were saying, like, do people care if it's from AI, like an AI response? Can they even tell? And basically they can't, right? But I feel like it's just helped me to be creative, because so many clients just say, thanks for the review, or we're glad we could help, like, yay. And it's not meaningful. Remember, you're talking to the next people. So that response has to be as awesome as possible, as amazing as possible. And I use your Magi AI to make that happen.
That's awesome. I also use it for responding to customers sometimes, mostly when they say not kind words. And my tendency is sarcasm to battle that sort of thing. And it's nice to put your response through the AI and say, make this less spicy.
less spicy use case. Anybody else have any questions for Tim? That was good.
I actually do have one, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I think reviews are such an important part of any business, whether it's in person, online, what have you. And you may have talked about this. I came in a little late, but what is the ideal timing and channel in which to ask for these reviews?
Immediately, right? So it should be part of your process, right? When you're onboarding or whatever, and then from there, ideally, you're striking while the iron's hot, right? While they're happy, they've had that experience. So if they're walking out of your office, you have something that's asking. If you're leaving them with a stack of papers or a flyer or an invoice, have something to leave a review. Following up with the emails and or texts soon afterwards also is a really great strategy. Again, strike while the iron's hot. And the other key part of that is follow up. Don't just let it be a one and done thing. So many people, some of my clients, like, yeah, I ask everyone to do it. They just don't do it. Well, you asked them one time while they're on their way out of the door, and they just spent time with you, and now they got to go to something else, right? Hit them with the request a few times.
Tim, can I riff off of that really quick? Something I've just noticed. I mean, it's just kind of anecdotal, like just observing. If we ask for reviews quickly, they are more likely to give referrals as well.
Very good point.
It's a psychological one too. It's like a natural progression. Like if you're sitting there like, I love Tim Palmer and Maxify is amazing, and they got me a 300% bump in this, that, or another thing, and I got a bunch of calls coming in. Do you think they're going to remember you as they're going to the grocery store and as they're going to their next business meeting, as they're going to networking? You think they're going to kind of remember you just a little bit more after they do that little exercise?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to be top of mind, and they're going to say, how did you guys increase your business over the last month? Well, there's a couple things. There's Tim Palmer, there's this, there's that. And because they sat there and wrote like a little love note to the world about you and your business. Like, I'm just saying this is not just about the review. This is about kind of like an opening to the hearts and minds of people that you're working with in a very different way. So any other last questions? Because I just get really excited when we talk about long-term strategies that actually work. They're not like scammy or spammy. Like they're just, hey, how did we, like, can you say some things online that would help future customers? What's wrong with that? Like, let's just ask people to do that. That's why they're there. All right. So any other questions, comments, thoughts, snide remarks, sarcastic moments for Tim? Tim, was that fun?
I mean,
did you have a good time?
That was fun.
Given the kind words he's already said, I've got a link where you can leave a review for me.
I would love to do that.
Look at you. He already made it. This is good. All right. So Tim, you'll walk us through if anybody wants to contact you. Here, let's bring that back up on the screen. Anybody wants to contact you, they can talk with you for a few minutes, no cost. You'll get a 20-point marketing inspection. You can generate some nice activity that will help your business get more clicks, more calls, more conversations, more appointments, more of the goodies coming in to your business so you can serve your not only local area, but even beyond, depending on how you want to structure it. So God bless you guys. Have a great week. Christine, did you have one last thing that we wanted to mention before we sign off?
Always. We want to see you on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is networking for marketers. So don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us. We're kind of fun. And you might even learn something. So come make new friends. And that is every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time or 10 Central, because that's where I'm at in Dallas. And then however that translates to everybody else.
Cool.
But come hang out with us and have some fun with us.
How do they get there? Oh, there it is. Givermarketing.com
/networking.
Networking. Website /networking will get you where you need to go, and it'll save it in your calendar for you, and you'll be on the roster for the next several weeks, if not several months, by just clicking on that button, givermarketing.com /networking. We'll see you Wednesday. Let's go. Talk to you soon. Blessings, guys. That was good. Good job, Tim.